welcome to the podcast. Today we've got Myles Wasley on. Myles, welcome on, mate.
Cheers, Don, mate.
Right, so we're in the Cotswolds on Bradley's.
Yep.
I think it's the second time I've come here to record one. So if you give us a bit of a rundown about what you're up to on here, how long you've been on here, and how it's going, if you're happy to share, that'd be good to hear.
Yeah, fine. I've been doing like last 2 weeks now. I've been doing sort of just work overnighters, just 2 or 3 through the week, just mainly for something to do and just a bit of fun and catch a few fish along the way. Like there's a couple of fish in here that I'd like to catch, and I've done a lot of time on here over the years, but sort of never really managed any of the A teams as such. So
Yeah.
I've had a lot of 30s from here, but I'd like to catch one of those big ones. So
Yeah.
I thought I'd try to put a bit of time and effort in, and hopefully try and catch one of these fish. And I think so far, I've done 9 nights. I've had 21 fish, and lost 4. So
Good going,
I
then.
think getting amongst them, but
Yeah.
had them up to 30. I think 5 30s and up to 36 so far.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, nice. And what does a typical session look like for you on here?
Generally, like I always go on the wind on it. It's a big old lake, and they do like it on the winds. And like in previous sessions on here, like I've sort of found them and sort of maybe catch 1 or 2, but they've moved off quite quickly.
Right.
But like sort of something I've changed like recently is like putting a lot of bait in, like sort of 30 odd kilo a night. So a lot of bait.
Christ.
But like
And is that for an overnight?
that's literally for an overnight.
Right.
Yeah. But obviously, like you've got so many crays in here. You've got loads of tench.
Yeah.
Roach,
Yeah.
all sorts going on down there.
Yeah.
I just always feel like you just can't put enough in here. Like I said before, before I was putting like a bucket in, I was getting 1 or 2 bites.
Right.
And I think they've just gone.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was sort of putting in like a lot of bait, and
Yeah.
the first work night I'd done, I had 4 bites. And you think it's mags. You think all that bait, you got 3 singles out there, bottom baits as well, and
Yeah. Yeah.
over that much bait, I was getting quick bites. I was thinking, like, have I
Yeah.
found the one? Like, is this
Yeah.
the trick? And like I said, I just carried on doing the same process, and repeat, and it just keeps working. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been going well.
Nice. Obviously, if on a work overnight with that much bait, how long's that taking you to get that out?
Depends. Like, it's a lot of time spotting it, but
Yeah.
like I said, I do a lot of spobbing. I do a lot of throwing, sticking with boilies
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
This is obviously a bit quicker, but
Yeah.
it still is time consuming. But sort of the spot I'm fishing now is only about 100 yards, so
Okay.
it doesn't generally take that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not too bad. But
Yeah. And obviously, you mentioned the crays on here.
yeah.
What obviously because there'll be people that have sort of never had to deal with them. So can you sort of give us any tips or advice on how you sort of get around them? Because I know they're rife on a lot of the pits here now.
I found like with crays, with bad lakes, with crayfish that's got a bad lake, bad problems. I've always found like the big blatant gravel areas as such, they love them.
Right.
They just, I don't know if they live on them, like burrow into them, like just come out at night. I don't know, but then even like the likes of Bradley's, and I know a few other lakes around here, like it doesn't matter if you're in weed, silt, they're on you.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
one thing I have found, like if you're putting your rigs out, I always put bait out first and then
Right.
put the rigs out after, because I found like before I've put the rigs out there,
Yeah.
spawned say 2 or 3 hours later, and the crays were on them already.
Right.
So I've always found like that is the best way. Get your bait in first,
Yeah,
and
just
then
to
put your
reduce-
rigs out. Like for instance here, I put my rigs out last thing, like as late as possible.
Right. Yeah. Yes, you said that. Obviously, what's the time now? We're on sort of
Yeah.
20 past 8, and you're sat away, and you've
Yeah.
not put any bait out yet.
No, not even putting any bait out yet,
No.
because I know they'd just be straight on me.
Yeah.
I'm sort of trying to leave it as late as possible. Like
Yeah.
everything. I know it sounds daft for a work night, but
Yeah.
I've put them out there early before,
And then you're not fishing.
and
I
I'm not
suppose.
fishing. Yeah, if there's a craig sat on your rig, for 6-7 hours.
Yeah.
Especially like that's one thing I changed like this last recent weeks. I used to always fish like quite big hinges on here.
Right.
I sort of repeated that to start with. I couldn't get a bite,
Right.
so I put one on the bottom bait, a plastic artificial, but fished as a bottom bait on a D rig.
Yeah.
And I had a bite straight away, and sort of never caught on a bottom bait in here in my life. So I thought that's strange.
Yeah.
Carried on, and that's what all my bites are. Like I said, have been on bottom bait since.
Oh, right.
So,
Yeah.
but obviously with it being on the bottom bait, the crays just they drag it around even more, and the hook points just.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you doing? That sort of beak points, just trying.
Yeah, just like use the
counteract
fin
it.
hangers, beak point chollocks. That they're a strong hook out of the packet, and they're sharp. Sorry, and they are quite strong. But
Yeah. Yeah.
and I also use quite big leads, 4.5, 5 ounce leads.
Yeah.
So even if it is a bit, bluntish over a period of night, it's still going in. I think.
Yeah.
Especially the way they're feeding on the spots.
And it's sort of like really stiff rigged stuff as well.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, I use like 25 to 30 pound amnesia.
Right.
So
Yeah.
fairly stiff, but
Yeah.
still supple enough to sort of sit over a bit of debris.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And did you say you're using like plastic baits as well? For
Yeah,
that?
artificial baits. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I've tried tigers in here before, and even the tigers, they chew those off within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I've literally put them out there 20 minutes. I think I'll just bring it into what I've done, and it's literally nothing left. I think, well, that's a waste of time.
Yeah, they're just savages. I mean, I fished on Large Lake a while ago. I fished it like before the craze and after the craze, and what a shock to the system that was. Like even like heat shrinking the baits, they were just undoing that.
Yeah.
You ended up with like a hard twirly thing and no bait in the middle. It's like a twirly bit of plastic
savages
on the end. Yeah, it's a nightmare. So I suppose it's just about being confident and sort of knowing what you're over the top of.
I know at certain times you're like, a lot of people like rechuck their rods through the night, but I think it doesn't matter. Like you could literally put one out there 5 minutes later, and it could be a quay straight on it.
So it might be as well, like the disturbance that they're
coming to. They
definitely
like you chuck a handful of bait in the margin, and they're straight in on it, or like even like you chuck a rock in the margin, they are straight on it. I think they like I said, the disturbance, they just come into it.
And see what it is, see if it's food.
What's that? I think, like I said, is that food?
Yeah, and the size of some of them as well.
They are massive. Yeah. Some of them here are like lobsters. Like, their claws are the size of my hand. Like literally, it's mad.
Yeah, they're little savages. Do you find, obviously, if you're doing sort of regular work overnight, you're getting like set bite times, or is it quite varied?
The first week I done on here, it was all from like 4 o'clock in the morning. Literally, like I put the bait out, and you sort of, say from about 2 o'clock in the morning, you start getting like liners, like really savage liners.
Yeah.
And it sort of go quiet, and then literally like just on first light I get a bite. And I sort of have 1, 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
But like last week, it was sort of all quiet the first night, and then I had one at 4, and then the Tuesday night I had a bite at midnight.
Right.
And then sort of went quiet, and then I had another bite just on light.
Right.
And then I remember last Friday night I had 3 bites from midnight till 2 in the morning.
Right. Okay.
So it has changed around a bit, but whether it's just, I don't know, different feeding times, it's just like how quick they're getting on the bait, or like I said, there's a lot of bait out there, so you think it would take a bit longer, but it seems like it varies really.
Yeah. And obviously, in terms of stock, like some of the better fish, can you sort of talk about them, or are they sort of kept quite quiet?
No, you sort of got like, I think you've probably got about 3 or 4 40-pound commons up to 47.
Right.
One here called Silver Common is about 47 the right time of year.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And then you got Banks's Common. This is normally like 41, 42, but a real old sort of nice dark long fish. And there's another couple in here sort of getting up that way. You've got one called Shoulders, another Banks's Common, Banks's fish, Tom Banks's fish.
Yeah.
Which is another nice one. And then I think you got another mirror in here. Well, obviously you got Wilmots, and that thing's like 6 years old.
Yeah.
That's still swimming around, like 37 odd pound. Like that's proper fish, that.
Yeah.
And then you sort of like, you got the stockies coming through now, but they're sort of pushing on. Like a couple of those are like 41, 42 pounds. So it's hard to put. I don't know how many fish are in here, but
how many acres is this? Because it's a big old pit, isn't it?
I think it's like 120 acres, maybe 125.
Right.
It's quite a big old lake.
The biggest
obviously,
one on the park, is it?
I think it's got to be up there. Yeah, definitely. Either here or Fry's.
Yeah.
But you've got so much out of bands in here. Obviously, like the houses are just flying around. Limited bank. You've hardly got any water to fish really now. Those fish certainly know that.
Yeah.
Every morning you could look out there in the middle and see like 20 shows within an hour. You just think like,
no chance.
There's no chance. Like, no one's getting out there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I imagine all sorts of stroke pulling goes on there. Don't we just
basically
get rumbled by the houses as well?
A few people get up to bits and bobs, but I think that's on every lake.
Yeah, of course.
Yourself.
Pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, you said this is sort of like a bit of a stopgap for you. Obviously, we mentioned off mic about some like memorable captures that you sort of mentioned previously. Should we talk a bit about them? Yeah, that's good. Cause you said you did a bit on Englefield, didn't you?
I did a bit on Englefield, like just after we come out of lockdown.
Right.
After all the COVID, I went up to Reading. Like, firstly, I wanted to get on the large lake, on the Ashton Keen ticket, but I couldn't get a ticket. So I thought, Reading would be the good step. So I fished Bradley's, and I'll admit it was well out of my comfort zone. But I thought that next step, I thought it'd do me good to fish with the better anglers around you, sort of make myself a better angler in a way.
Yeah.
Remember I went up there, like I said, I think it was May, we come out of lockdown, I went up there, and the lakes were super busy because everyone was off work. Most people was getting paid full pay, 80%, and there was just full-timers around the lake everywhere. But yeah, I did enjoy it. A week, like I said, I'm a weekend, so I'd be turning up Friday night, but just slotting in really that first, especially the first 2-3 months.
Yeah.
But I caught a few tension that throughout the first couple of months, like I said, and then it was like by end of July, I had my first bite.
Right.
I was fishing around got down late Friday again. It was busy, but sort of slotted into sort of quite a good zone really. So I was quite surprised that it was available.
Yeah.
And like I said, I see a couple out, then found a spot, and the next one I had my first bite. It's a middle triplet, like one of the canal fish. So that was a bonus. Like, I was happy with that,
Yeah. What sort of weight was that?
I think it was, off the top of my head, it was £29.
Right.
So, not a monster, but it's, weight's irrelevant. It was just
nice.
Proper,
like
my first sort of proper
well.
fish as well. Like, sort of quite good first fish to catch.
Yeah, that's always nice to get the first one in the boat. You just settle in.
Definitely, it's definitely a confidence booster, like for sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'd sort of done a bit, and then sort of, like I said, turn up on a Friday, it'd be busy one minute, and then tried to keep it quiet, but someone obviously clocked me and got down the next.
Yeah.
Someone was in there and thought that's that. And
Club water.
Started moving around the pond a bit and didn't really sort of get much going. Like I said, I was seeing them, but just couldn't quite get on them. It's like it was just too busy.
Yeah.
So I did book a bit of time off. I think it was August over the full moon, because like the baby back loves the full moon.
Right.
So I thought I'd book a week off.
Yeah.
And sort of get down there on a Sunday and sort of getting with a half chance catching, getting in a sort of area where I think I could catch it.
Yeah.
I remember I got down on the Sunday, like a few people pulled off, and then sort of Monday morning everyone turned up, like the midweek anglers.
Right. Yeah.
It was fairly busy still, and then I fished in a swim called the Four Boy actually, where Tom Stokes caught it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, fished the same spots I had the bite off like a couple of months before.
Yeah.
And seeing them out there again, so I thought I'd just go and sort of done the same thing as I done last time. Really. I thought I'd just try that, see if it works. And the first 2 nights was quiet, and then the third night I had a £20 like cricket back common. So and there's £20 common, but still it's a bite from there. So I was buzzing with that.
And you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, that's it, definitely. And then sort of thought, I still had a couple more nights, but then like it was quite overcast and like windy, like proper like for that 4 boys. It was quite a deep zone, for like 10 foot.
Right.
So like when you had those big like southwesterly and rain, it was sort of prime for that area. And then I remember on the Thursday morning, it went like northeasterly in like 26 degrees.
Right. And
I remember looking up to like there's a swim called the Blocks, and they love it out there, and they was just going mental.
Yeah.
And obviously that end was just stitched, and one mate, he went on to catch a few of them. I think he lost the black as well, like. So that was sort of that, and then I come home a couple of days early because obviously it was my annual leave, so I thought that's sort of been lost. I thought I'd just save my holiday. And then, like I said, carried on a bit more throughout the autumn, struggled a bit really.
Yeah.
I did actually, I think it was November time, sort of quite late, more into winter.
Yeah.
I was in the blocks and got down late Friday, and there's like 2 people on. I thought, happy days. So I got in the blocks. I know it's quite, not a strong northeast, but quite a light sort of northeasterly. But I know it's quite sunny. It was like 17 degrees for November.
Right.
I thought they probably will get on that wind.
Yeah.
I remember I found a spot, sort of the block spot, like 22 wraps everyone fishes. But I remember I one out to the left. I found a spot there. Yeah. And the Saturday night I actually had again £20 common, but I had another fish, so I sort of I was happy with that. But then word got about. I don't know how. I didn't tell nobody, but someone seen me and got in there the next week, and someone was in there. So that was that. And then I actually pulled off. Then sort of done a bit elsewhere, just a few socials and that with my mates, just a bit of fun really for winter.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I went now. I was just here, there, everywhere, and then obviously went back the last year, and then sort of started repeat again. Sort of it was I think it was days only, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
last year, and then
we had
March or April we could do nights. I was actually because it was meant to be like fishing local.
Was it April? I think it might have been April. It was a bit later on, wasn't it? Didn't it was that when it went really warm?
It was,
Yeah.
Obviously we could do days only, but I was driving up there, just sort of wrecking the place and just being up there as much as I could really, just trying to see where they wake up, and found them where they was waking up, and sort of got into those, started baiting a few areas. I wasn't fishing. I did fish the odd day while I was on seeing them. I thought I'd just chuck the rods out, but it's mainly just to sort of wreck the place and just see where they wake up really. And I think it was like May time when I can't remember when I'd done the first weekend. I think it might have been May. I'd done the first weekend in a swim called the Shitting, like quite a central swim, sort of to where I'd seen them like the previous weeks. I remember I'd found a few spots. I didn't put much back, probably like 8 to 10 spoms. I remember seeing one out there. Got down on the Friday night again quite late, and I obviously put the rigs out. And Saturday morning I'd seen one. I thought that's promising, like. And then I think it was Sunday morning. Then I had a bite, and it was a little stocky. And they put a couple in from there. Behind the points, there was a little pond called the Brownlee. Right. I think they put 3 or 4 mirrors in there. It was only about £8. I thought, a bite I suppose, but not really ideal. Yeah. But it's a bite off the spots. I thought something wants to feed out there. Obviously, getting quite a lot of tench as well. It's like that lake in the spring, like the tench can be quite savage, especially at times. But like I said, sort of carried on baiting. I managed to keep getting in that swim called the Shitting as well, which is ideal. I think on the third weekend I got down Thursday, had the Friday off, put the rods out, seen quite a few, didn't get a bite. Seen a few on a Saturday morning, just didn't get a bite. Couldn't work out, thinking what was going on. Like, there's a spot, like, is there still bait out there? Is it rotted a bit, or something was up? Like, and I remember the Sunday morning I'd seen quite a few, but then on that lake, for whatever reason, like the boats would come out on the Sunday and they just go dead. And I thought, I had work on the Monday. I thought, should I stay, or I was thinking, it started raining. It did look prime for that, so I thought, I'm going to stay and do the work night. And the boats went in about 4, and like I said, put the rigs out there, but I didn't put no more bait out there, so I thought, I didn't even have a tench that session, so I thought I'd just stick to my plans. Put 2 rigs out there on the spot, and sat back sort of quite confident, even though I hadn't had a bite. Well, I'd seen one but hadn't had a bite. I did feel confident for whatever reason. And I think it was like half 1 in the morning, I woke up to an absolute like ripper. I've gone down to rods because I have them out in the bar, sort of way down to bar, hit it. I could hear like this flapping around down the margin. It turns out a swan, because like you can wade round onto the bar and cast off the bar. Right. And obviously everyone spods off there and spills bait. It turns out a bloody swan had come through with his head down, picked up the braid, got wrapped up in his wing, and ripped off. But obviously I was oblivious to it. Wait in the middle of the night, wake up, and so that was that. So I was like, but I still had one rod out there. I thought, rather than try and reach it, because the eelgrass now, though, I didn't mention, is like really bad, and the spots are so small. I thought, I got one rod out there, I thought I'd just leave it as that. And then about 3:30, 2 hours later, sort of all that disturbance, I had to take another one. But I was a bit slow in it, and it was ripping. I sort of found my head torch, put my waders on, put my raincoat on, it was raining. So I thought, if there's a swan out there, I'm not getting soaked for that. I picked up the rod, thinking, bloody swan, and it's just flat rodded me. I thought, hang on a minute, that no swan. Like, I remember us playing it, and sort of like, it probably took a good 50, 60 yards on a run. So like I said, I thought it was a swan. And I thought, I'm not going out there in the rain. So I got sorted and went out there. It started kiting right, so you've got a lot of buoys in that lake. Obviously, it's the sailing club. When it started kiting right, so I sort of waded left onto the bar to try and pull it back round. And we started bringing on a sort of dog on a lead straight line, bit of weed on it, sort of come in. I remember flicking the head torch on, and there's like one in there called the Big Stocky. And I remember flicking it on the, obviously, come over the bar and it's quite shallow, it was up on the surface. I thought, that looks like the Big Stocky, but I was a bit shaky then. Anyway, turns out it's one of the stockies, but it was actually my first 40. So I sort of weighed it. I thought, happy days, that first 40. I thought, what a lake to do it from. But so I rang my mate Tim, he come down in there in the morning, just before work, done all the photos and that. It was like literally just £40 free, but I was buzzing, like proper buzzing.
Wow.
So I thought, happy days. I'd done the photos and went to work. Probably the best Monday I've gone to work. Couldn't be much happier than that. Catch my first 40.
Wow. So on that note, like fishing a club lake like that, was it like a bit of a baptism of fire for you? I mean, was it sort of not what you were used to?
No, definitely. Well, like I said, I've sort of, when I was younger, I'd done like the likes of Linear, I'd done a few of the BYCAC, and then spoke to my mate Mitch Hammonds. He said, like, get on Bradley's. I thought, I'm not fishing there, that lake's massive. I thought, I'm never going to catch a fish on there. And he sort of helped me out in a way, and then give it a go and sort of get amongst them. I thought, I was a bit confident, really, for my life, a bit too confident. But I thought, if I can catch them from a lake like this, I know there's a lot more stock in here, but it's more just to get the daunting side of the big lakes.
That's
I thought, if I can fish a big lake like this, I thought, going to, I think Engu's about 60 acres, it was like half the size. I thought, I felt confident I could catch one, but I knew it was going to be a challenge compared to what I was used to, for sure. Like I said, I got amongst them, and then I think got back the following weekend after that. Obviously had that first thought, I thought buzzing, like got a bit of bait out before I went to work. I was back up on the Friday then, got up there Friday, and there was someone in there. I thought, typical, like literally didn't tell anyone. I kept that capture like quiet for probably 3 or 4 weeks. I thought I was on to something. I thought I could catch a few more off there. But like I said, I couldn't get in there in the end for 2 weeks, and by that point the eelgrass had literally taken over. When it managed to get in there after someone on a Saturday morning, cast the same spots, and they've gone. I thought, well, fuck, that's sort of that's that one. So led it round, couldn't really find much, and I thought it's getting to that time of year on there when the eelgrass takes over and it gets quite weedy, like a few people pull off. So I sort of come up with a game plan that I'd fish like, there's a swim called a little bomb, like knowing like you got like little bomb and big bomb. Like in the winter months they're quite popular swims, but in the summer months like not many people fish there. So I thought, turning up on a Friday quite late, I'd have a good chance of getting in there. So like I said, I found a spot in there like quite long. I was fishing like just over 140 yards. So I thought if anyone did go in there,
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 they wouldn't be on the spot. And I know the few people that could hit it wouldn't go in there because I was sort of baiting there.
Right.
I think after the first week of baiting, I put a lot of baiting. So there was a spot there, but it wasn't really a spot. I was putting solid bags amongst the eelgrass.
Nice. Yeah.
And I actually had a bite on the Sunday morning, but I was
Right.
using backleads. I know it sounds daft for weed, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of like undertow in there, and a lot of
Right.
weed beds was wiping out, so I had
Yeah.
backleads on.
Yeah.
Cut long story short, I had a bite. The backlid wouldn't come up out of the weed. The fish ploughed off to the right and unfortunately lost it.
No.
So
No.
that was a bit of a. I was wounded, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I sort of packed up a bit sharpish and I thought,
Yeah.
stuff this, I'm going home. I
That's
did
a
put a bit
horrible
more bait
feeling.
out, and then
Yeah.
I think I got down on the Thursday the following week, done the same thing, but I remember a spot, it was lovely. It was like someone just gone out there and raked it.
Right.
I remember got a real good, not a crack, but like a firm thud, like firm
Mhm.
silt, and it just went probably like half a rod length. I thought, I'm going to put a bottom bait on that. I thought, there's literally, like I said, I put an old rig out there and a grafting there. There's literally nothing. I thought they've smashed that spot. So I thought,
Yeah.
like I said, put 2 bottom bait rigs out there, little D rigs. Probably put 20, 30 spoms over there. And on a Friday morning, I had a take, like real savage take, like fishing quite locked up because of the weed. I didn't really want to give it much or plough off the weed. Because like to the right spot was a big weed bed up to the surface. I thought,
Mhm.
if it goes around the back of that, I thought, even with braid, I thought it's going to be hard to get back.
Yeah.
I remember I got up about 4. Sorry, I missed a bit then. Got up about 4, didn't really see a great deal.
Mhm.
Went back to bed about 7 in the morning.
Right.
Literally, as I've got back into bed, I've had the take. Sort of ripped off, thinking quick jump in the waders. Most swims in there, you've got to get in the waves
Yeah.
to get out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember playing it thinking, it's quite a powerful fish, sort of playing it. It's up to the surface, and I see like its tail and his head. I thought, it's quite a long fish, like.
Yeah.
Thinking, it started 10, well, it felt like half an hour. It's probably about 10 minutes later, sort of weed bed. I think it went through about a couple of weed beds, but sort of
Yeah.
managed to get. There's one like you got a bar out there to my left. It's the same bar after shooting. It's like the shooting was to my
Right.
left, and the
Right.
bar sort of run down. I
Yeah.
remember it sort of carted over that, and then sort of come to a halt, and then come free. And by that point, it had a lot of weed on it.
Right.
I was thinking, is it even still there?
Yeah.
So I was a bit like just pumping and winding, didn't feel anything. Like with the braid, normally you'd feel
Yeah.
something, but I thought, don't tell it's gone. I thought 2 losses.
Yeah.
I remember my mate Byron was behind me. I said, it's gone, mate. I said, there's nothing. I can't feel anything. He said, just chill out. He said, just keep
Yeah.
pumping it. He said,
Yeah.
I remember sort of literally got the rod so far, chucked it behind me, and just got in with the waders and just scooped as much as I could possibly
Yeah.
get in there.
Like a massive
There's
great
still
big
like it
ball
must
of
have been literally the size of a ground sheet, the weed,
Yeah.
like thick Canadian eelgrass.
Yeah.
I still didn't see anything. I said to my mate, there's nothing in there. I was sort of picking away weed,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden I felt a flash. I thought, no, there's something in there.
Yeah.
And I sort of got it, and I could see like white tips in his tail, and there's a fish in
Right.
there called white tips.
Yeah.
And at first I thought, fuck, I've got white tips.
Yeah.
It's normally like 36, 37 pound.
Yeah.
So I was buzzing, and it's still ripping weed off.
Mm.
And it turns out it was a big triplet, but it normally gets caught with the baby black, that one.
Right.
So I thought maybe I'm onto something here.
Yeah.
Seen quite a good one shot there the day before as well.
Yeah.
So I weighed that one. I think I didn't actually get it. I had a bit of a nightmare of that fish because like they was spawning, but they kept having like weird hits. They do like
Yeah.
a day or two of spawning, and then they
Right.
go like a week without spawning.
Yeah.
They're still like super charged up. And anyway, like
Yeah.
sort of got it on the map, done a few photos, and it was playing up a bit. So
Yeah.
I said to my mate Tim, he was there, he'd done the photos. I said, we'll just get some water shots. Literally, as I've got it up, it's gone. And I thought, I didn't even weigh it.
Yeah.
But generally, it's sort of between 30 and 32 pound.
Right,
But it
yeah.
could have been a bit, rates irrelevant. Really,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
smaller
yeah,
fish,
yeah.
like I said. And I thought, maybe I'm onto something here. And
Yeah.
then again, typical sort of got the rods out, bait out there. The weather changed, went a bit sort of sunny. And I woke up the next morning and they was in the blocks again. So I thought, that's that one again. I thought, seems to be a recurring occurrence.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sort of just kept going. Didn't have anything more that session. Put a bit more bait on a Sunday. And then we got that down. So I booked quite a few Fridays off. So just try and get something going. Just,
Yeah.
2 nights isn't the best really. Because by the time you get down, because I
Yeah.
normally get down at 6 o'clock on a
How
Friday.
busy it is.
And
Yeah.
a busy lake. I thought if I can get down Thursday, I thought the chance of getting where I
Mm.
want to be is in that swim.
Yeah.
Obviously, baiting a swim, you're putting a lot of time and effort and money into it. You need to be there, don't you?
Yeah.
Make the most of it.
course. Yeah.
I remember the next few weeks sort of went a bit quiet, catching like the odd few tench, but like I said, the whole lake it was only sort of me and my mate Tim that was sort of catching them. Like the whole
Right.
lake was struggling for whatever reason. I don't know whether they didn't have spots going, but
Right.
kept catching tench there. Like I said, the spot was getting better and better. Like
Mm.
quite comfortably get 2 rods on there in the end.
Yeah.
And then I think it was a month later, I had another bite from there. Sort of same again. It's like woke up in the morning, didn't see anything all day. I was on the phone to my mate Terry actually. I said to him, like, it's just dead. I said, there's birds diving on me. That's sorry. I got bird. I had 2 rods out. I had 1 rod left. It'd been picked up twice by a bird. I thought, I was saying to my mate, I said, I don't even think I'm fishing. It was like midday. I think it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Never had a bite that time, but I thought I was just going to leave once. I thought it was point in bringing them in just to sit against a bivvy. I was on the phone to him, and all of a sudden the rod has just ripped. I thought, fuck. But I thought, nah, can't be. No way. And then sort of looked up, the bird's gone. I thought, no, that's definitely not into it.
Yeah.
Sort of playing it in, same again, wee bed to wee bed, solid weight, and then I remember I had to hand line it because there's a lot of silkweed in there. It sort of wrapped it around I had fishing leaders, like just to try and keep it pinned down more than anything. And they got wrapped around the lead knot, so I sort of had to hand line it so far, and then sort of bring it in. I scooped it in. I thought, I got it in. I thought that's common, but sort of looked, I thought there's one in there called the original common. That's a real old one. So I thought I was quite happy with that. I think it was spawned out. It's like £25.
Right.
But, sort of one of the better ones again.
Yeah.
Sort of happy days, and then a couple of weeks ago I went quiet again. Had another bite, and I think that was another 25 common, maybe 26 common. So I was sort of getting bites. I thought not the right ones.
Yeah.
And then sort of carried on baiting it. Went a bit quiet again. I remember I woke up. I think it was I got down a couple of weekends later, and on the Friday morning put the rods out. And Saturday morning had a couple of beeps, like early hours, sort of like just on, not quite first, like probably about 5:30. I sort of didn't think anything of it because I thought, no, the bites in there, they just rip. You don't get. I thought
it's out of the blue sort of thing. Yeah.
So I remember sort of like just laying back in the bed, and then like I heard like a zzz, zzz. It turns out it's my clutch, but like in there, like I said, because the weed was bad, I've always fished the tips quite far down.
Right.
It turns out the fish had pulled up, the rod had pulled up where the fish had took it out, and it pulled out the rest.
Ah, okay.
And it came out the alarm, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
So obviously I didn't hear anything. It sort of come round. I've heard the clutch. Anyway, sort of got it in, and by this point I looked at spawn. It was a long way out. I don't know how long it had been going for before I had those. After those couple of beats, probably could have been 2 minutes just ripping.
Crikey.
Anyway, long story short, I lost that one. So that was a massive downer. I actually pulled off for a few weeks. It real wounded me. So I thought, catching a few fish off there, and like
freak
none of those.
Occurrence as well, isn't it? Yeah.
None of those big ones have been out for a while, and you just you just never know, do you?
That's horrible. Yeah, when
is.
when they're due.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that niggle at the back of your mind or something like that. Yeah, not nice.
And then sort of by that point, it was sort of like October time, so not a lot. I'd caught a few throughout the year. Like between me and my mate, we caught like majority of the bites on that lake. So, but still, it for whatever reason last year it fished quite bad. Really, I don't know why.
Right.
I think it only done like 20 bites the whole year. So I know it's only, I think it was about 30 fish in there, 35 fish, but it didn't do a lot of bites at all. And like quite a few of the big ones didn't come out.
Right.
So it did fish hard anyway. Sort of, I'd done a France trip like I think it was October into November. Just first trip. I thought I'd go home and just see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Don't think I'd do it again, but no.
Okay.
I don't know. Just you get a bite and you just think that's another fish. Like, it didn't really mean anything to me. Like and you can't move. You just sat looking at the same piece of water for like 7 days.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
I thought I'd do it just to see if I like it. It's more of an experiencing, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And sort of, I went back to Engie. I think it was probably November time.
Right.
Flitted about a bit. Not really much had happened. I think my mate Tim caught the black in October, and then after that, it sort of just died a death. Really, didn't really do anything.
Right.
And they recently opened. There used to be a swim called the Woods on there, and they shut it because a few people took the piss and took the piss a bit more, and forever. They shut the swim eventually.
I think that's where I interviewed Tom. Actually, was that in the woods?
I think it was. Yeah.
It gets real boggy.
That's it. Yeah. So you got the same comes to your right, and people's like wading out.
Yeah.
And then a few people go a bit further, and then in the day, like not mentioning names, but big names. Those out there broad daylight, swabbing amongst the boats, and it wasn't going to last long.
Yeah, yeah.
But they actually opened the swim back up, but they sort of opened up a swim to the left. It was actually the original wood swim.
Right.
I've always thought, like, I remember in the winter you'd always see like the odd one out there because you're sort of central to the lake there, but you're only like 100 yards and you're central. I thought that could be a good shout in there. And they put some singles out there. And I think I literally had a common within a few hours into dark, so I thought happy days.
Yeah, nice.
Put a bit of bait. I'd not literally a few handfuls of bait just spread around the catapults. I'd walk round to the sailing club at night and just put a few boilers out there.
Yeah.
Sort of did a bit discreetly, like.
Yeah.
I thought, might catch a few more from here because, like, generally winds, you think that's where they're held, held up as such.
Yeah.
Got back down the following weekend. Someone in there. I thought, this just seems to be my luck every time. Get something sort of going, or could get something going. There's someone there. So I actually drove down to Bradley's. I can't remember if I stayed there Friday night I stayed there overnight, just had a social with mate Tim, just booted up.
Mm.
And then Saturday morning I drove down to Bradley's where we are now.
Mm.
A few of my mates were here for a social and put a few solid bags out there. And I remember that evening we was having a curry and I had a bite, like low 30 mirrors. I thought,
Nice.
that'd do, like. And
Pub
then,
check solid bag.
yeah, literally just pub
Lovely.
check 3 solid bags as far as I could,
Yeah.
like 160, 170.
Yeah.
I thought, well, if they go, they go. Just went Saturday with me, and like I said, I had a bite. I thought, that'll do. And then that's sort of like where it come to, like, we've done a bit on the winter then, sort of, and didn't fish for a bit, and then it went a bit cold, and I don't know, December, like, we had quite a good mild spell, didn't we?
Mm. Yeah.
And like, a few of my mates come down, we had a good social, like, and caught a few fish, and
Yeah. Lovely.
it was good fun, really.
Yeah.
So that took me up to sort of back end of last year, but then
Yeah.
sort of thinking about sort of Engie or winter as such, like January time, I did go up there and do a bit, but there's rumours going about there's going to sell more tickets, and I was thinking,
Yeah.
I don't know if I fancy this. As much as
Yeah,
I put
yeah.
a lot of time and effort into the lake, it seems
Yeah.
daft pulling off after catching a few fish.
Yeah.
I thought, I don't know if I can hack it, like turn up Friday.
Yeah.
I fished up to there until about, I think it was it might have been beginning of March, sorry.
Right.
And it just started getting busy, and like I said, you'd be in a swim. Like, I didn't catch anything, but I'd sort of seeing them, I thought, good zone. Get back
Yeah.
down the following weekend, wouldn't get in there.
Yeah.
So I thought, I don't know if I fancy this. And
Yeah.
the more I thought about it, I thought, the Cotswold Water Park's like 20 minutes away from my house.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
thought, I can put a lot more, I can fish midweek, I can bait midweek.
Get something going.
I'd get
yeah.
something going. And
Yeah.
I thought, speak to a mate of mine, he said, why don't you go to a private lake? I won't mention the lake because no publicity, but
Yeah.
I thought, so I think it was like middle of March, we had the first, I think it was like 25 degrees, remember the heat wave?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was, like, really
yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
I remember getting to the lake and I'd seen 2 fish, and like, this lake it's a hard lake, really like low stop, big old lake, a lot of obstacles on there as well, like.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing 2. I rang my mate, so I've just seen 2. He said, no, it must have been 10. I said, I'm telling you that I've seen 2 carp shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, they're not like he said, generally like, it's sort of like May, June they wake up, but like I said, that sort of early heat wave we had, just it seemed to have woke them up. And that night, really cool occurrence, I caught a small common first night. I thought, fucking, am I going to get amongst these big ones?
Yeah.
And then sort of, we had a good bit of weather, started baiting, like, and it sounds daft, but that lake's a lot of crayfish again.
Right.
So I was putting in a hell of a lot of bait, rowing out there and dumping like 40, 50 kilo a night for the weekends.
Yeah.
But I knew there was a lot of tension crays in there.
Yeah.
So I sort of carried on a few weeks of that. I actually caught my first proper one as such from there.
Right.
I think it was 29 mirror, like. Oh no,
Yeah.
sorry, it was just over 30. It was 30
Right.
pound an ounces.
Lovely.
But one of the original stock and
Nice.
proper ones as such. I thought,
Yeah.
happy days.
Yeah.
I think that was the 26th of March. That was the first one.
Right.
I thought I'm on something then. But up until that point, I had like 3 spots. Cause like I said, I didn't really know what spots where they'd want to be, and like I just spread the rods out between where I'd seen them as such, and
Yeah.
started concentrating on like the left-hand spot in the middle. Started baiting those. Like I said, like stupid amounts of bait, but
Yeah.
they was eating it now between the crays and the tench and the carp.
Yeah.
There was, a few carp was in there. They was definitely eating it.
Clear and everything.
I remember, I think it was a few weeks later, I had another bite, and it was actually the same fish I'd caught.
Right.
I was thinking, bloody hell, what's the chances? Like,
Yeah.
I thought, like, I know there's only about 20 fish in there, but I thought,
Yeah.
surely, like, how's that working? Anyway, put him back. I thought it's not going to be no bigger. I thought, to get him back, another bite. But anyway, I think it was probably I think it was a month later. I think it was April. I had another bite, sort of got down after work. So I'd done a lot of work nights on there as well, because it was close to home. Put the rigs out there, and I remember, like, I think it was like 5:30, 6 in the evening. I've had a take. I was thinking, but yeah, sort of playing it, weeding me up from like wee bed to wee bed. Sort of got it in so far, and the same thing in there. Like, the silkweed was really bad. So, like, I was fishing like at the time I was fishing like quite thin braid, but like long nets, like fin and anglers braids,
Right.
as a shock leader as such.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it got wrapped around the lead knot, and like, I just couldn't wind through the rings anymore. And I was fishing like probably about 30 foot of as a leader as such. I remember putting a rod down and hand lining this fish across the surface
Right.
on braid.
Yeah.
It was a bit hairy, like, and I'd see it. I'd see it as a cod. I didn't see it. I knew it wasn't massive, but
Yeah.
hand lining, and luckily, it's sort of hand line and went straight in net without sort of
Yeah.
taking any line.
Yeah.
I got it, and it was like common just over 30. So I thought, happy days. Rang my mate, and he's like, "Yeah, you're onto something there, mate." He said, "Keep catching, like, that's the right ones."
Yeah. Yeah.
So same again, sort of repeated like, a few weeks later, baiting. I think it was probably was about 3 weeks later. I had another bite, middle of the day. I sort of had a day off work. Sorry. remember I had a bite just randomly out of the blue, hadn't seen anything, and it felt alright, to be fair. It was quite a powerful fish. It was a long fish, but obviously at the time I didn't know, but it felt quite a powerful fish. And it I think I was only fishing 70 yards, but by the time I sort of stopped, it's probably about 120 yards.
Right.
It's sort of really going, and there's a lot of weed out there, and it sort of done me over the back of a bar out there. I was thinking, I was using 10 foots over there as well, just a bit easier to manoeuvre around, sort of in and out of the trees as such. And it just comes to a halt, and I was thinking, I don't know what to do. I was thinking, there's a handful of fish in here. You never know, it could be the one you're after. Yeah. I was thinking, I don't know what to do. I was on my own, my girlfriend normally comes, but she was at work, obviously.
Right.
I rang my mate and said, I've got one weeded up. I said, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go out there in a boat. And he said, yeah, just get out there in a boat. And so I thought, yeah, I'll go out there in a boat. Anyway, go out there, sort of, didn't see no fish. Go out above the spot, and like the Canadian was that fit. I couldn't see anything, just hand lining it up again, sort of thinking, there's nothing here. Remember this mirror just popped up. I thought, bloody hell, that's right. At the time it looked quite big, but I think where I was in a sort of shock of the bite, out in the boat, amongst it, like it's windy. Yeah. Got it in the net. I think it was a 27 mirror. Right. Same again. My mate's like, yeah, you're onto something there. I said, you said that last time. He said, no, I'm telling you now. He said, like, they're the right ones. I was thinking, no. All right. So they'd done the photos of that. Got the rod back out there. Sort of went a bit quiet, but then we were sort of up to, I think it was like beginning of May at that point. And it's sort of things were happening, like they was eating a lot of bait. I was seeing them, starting to see quite a few then. And there's a couple of fish in there, like you got probably 10 to 12 fish, that halfback. You take them if they come along, but it's sort of like 5 to 6, the A team as such, and then obviously the big one. Nice. And I remember this certain fish that my mate was on about, and he said, "You're catching that fish." I said, "Don't be silly, like." I thought, no chance. I thought, no, people come on this lake and like catch 2 fish in a year. Yeah. He said, no. He said, I'm telling you, no, you're catching. I said, all right, I'll take your word for it. I ain't going to say no. And I think got down on a Friday, put a load of bait in, I probably put about 80 kilo bait up from the dinghy. And I felt confident I was going to catch that fish after my mate said. I thought, I said, I remember my girlfriend's there, so I'm catching that fish. He's gone, you're mad. I said, no. Anyway, I think it was the Friday night I had a few tench, and then Saturday night I thought, I'm not going to bet, I'm just going to leave it, just read down the rods obviously every morning, every evening. I thought, I think it was probably just gone midnight. I've had an absolute ripper, like real savage take. Sort of running down, hit the rod. Again, like just ridiculously powerful, just couldn't do anything with it, just ripping and ripping. Sort of gone in through one wee bed, sort of come free, kited around a bit more, took a load more line. By this point, it's probably about 200 yards in the lake. Yeah. Obviously, like pitch black, it was a massive wind. Come to a halt again, I was thinking, I don't really fancy going out there at the time. I remember I rang my mate and I texted him and said, you up? And he said, yeah. I rang him, like, same again. It's like, I go to him for advice, because he'd fished the lake previously, and he said, like, he was quite a good sort of person to talk to, and he said, just get out there. Yeah. Sort of, obviously, put me life jacket, I'd never get out there without a life jacket, start going out there with the head torch, but it was windy, there was a bit of rain, I couldn't see nothing, to be honest with you. I was just pumping and winding. Yeah. Anyway, sort of got to the lead, and so I sort of 30, 40 yards. Sorry, I thought I got to be close. Couldn't wind it through the rings again. No. So I'm thinking, bloody hell. And in the back of my mind, I thought, that's that fish. Yeah. So I put the rod down in the boat, starts hand lining, thinking, God, this is not ideal.
Especially if it's a big
one. The braid was going down into the weed bed. I sort of start picking bits, but I hear like thrashing round to my right. I sort of flick the head torch. I thought, that's that fish. Yeah. This fish is like, it's £39. I thought, bloody hell. So I sort of got that in, sort of hand lined it, thinking, if this fish goes now, I'm probably going to lose it. I see my hinges hanging out his mouth. It was hooked, but I thought, if it bolts, it wrapped around my braid, around my braid, I thought, it's just going to go. Yeah. Someone was obviously looking down at me, went in the net, and I was buzzing with that one, like one of the proper ones as such. Yeah. Oh wow! I think that's probably definitely, most certainly the best carp to this day that I've caught. Big achievement. That's big old lake, and not many people have gone on there and done that. Yeah. So went back and done the photos and that next morning. Like sacked it for a couple of hours and done the photos, and I was buzzing. Like, oh, brilliant! And I missed a bit there. Sorry. That's right. It's midnight. Yeah. Obviously had that bite, and basically that fish always gets caught with a certain other fish. Like sort of that fish is like, if you're catching that one, you're catching the main one as such. Yeah, got you. Like I've had that one in there, obviously put that one in the net. I was thinking, I've still got one rod out there. Yeah. I've gone back to the bivvy. So obviously I told my girlfriend what fish it was and all the rest of it. Sort of buzzing, thinking like, just talking gibberish, but I thought I was buzzing. And I said to her, so I'm catching the big one. She's gone, you're bloody mad. So I'm catching it. I remember it was sort of probably about 1 o'clock at that point. I said, I'm just going to go and sit by the rods. I wasn't far off it. I was probably about 20 yards off the rods, but I thought I'm just going to sit by the rods. So I brought my chair down there, made a little flask for a tea, and I sat there for 2 hours. By the rod, I was hearing like the odd one boom out. I was thinking, it's game on. I'm catching it. Like the one, I'm catching that fish. Probably 2 hours I sat there. It was like 3:30. I thought, I'm knackered. Like, so I'd done the photos of that fish. Put it back. And then, literally, probably been to bed about 20 minutes.
Right.
I had a sort of a drop back. And then pick up, and then just a steady, like slow take. Like typical, like big fish take. So I've obviously ran down, hit the rod, and the fish has just flat rodded me and just done whatever it wanted. Just took stupid amounts of line and sort of started gaining it. And it sort of come up to the surface then. I remember like, you could tell it's on the surface. I was just pumping it and winding it, and you'd hear it like it flick off a dorsal thing. It turns. I sort of knew it was on the surface. I thought it was out of danger of the weed. There's a lot of big savage bars there with like real big muscles on.
Right.
So I'm getting it in. Got it 20 yards out, and sort of it was the one. It was the one I was after as such. I was thinking like all rattly, sort of grabbed the net to my left. As it sort of come up and turned again, it's hook pulled.
Oh no.
And I was just gutted. I remember bringing the rig in. Like I said, there was a lot of crays in there, and the crays had just absolutely demolished the rig. Like, but having seen it, I felt sick. I was really gutted. I actually poured off the lake after that. It did wound. I went. It wounded me. I was gutted. It was a massive high catching the next one in command to then losing the one you're after. At the net. He was just
God.
Real.
And were you done then on there?
That was me done. If I put that when I was pulling off, I was thinking like, sort of 2 months angling, like job done, like 10 bites. 10,
load of bait. That's the way. I think that's the way to do it, mate. You just get a few spots going and just being consistent, isn't it? So it's just training them to be there, isn't it? Especially if you've got limited time.
That's it, definitely.
What was next after that?
I sort of pulled off. Like I said, it did proper wound me that, so I sort of pulled off a bit, and then to be honest, after that, I was sort of flitting about here, there, everywhere. And then a mate of mine
drink your tea, mate.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be freezing cold. You make another one if you want, don't make yourself another.
I was flitting about here, there, everywhere, really. And it wasn't until about June, like my mate told me about lake, another private lake. I sort of, bugger it, I'll have a go on there. Sort of like unknown stock, really, but it's like, do you know, a snaggy pit in Cambridge.
Right.
Like, that's the only lake I compare it to. Like, I've never fished. It's like. About 80 to 100 acres and like literally trees, bushes, all sorts going out in the lake. Proper savage like. But he said no, there's a couple of half about fish in there. Right. I remember I got in there. I actually went up Saturday morning. I thought I'd just go up there, mooched around a bit, found some fish. Put the rods out. Sort of went out there in the boat, found the spot, put the rods out. I felt, even though I didn't really know the stock, I felt confident. I sort of put the rods out. I said to my girlfriend, she was with me. I said, I'm catching one tomorrow. She said, it's your first night on the lake. I said, I don't know, so I just feel like, something's going to happen.
Confidence,
I mean, 7:30 the next morning, I've had a bite, and it was in there, £26 common night, but the first one from a lake, sort of unknown stock, really. I thought, I was quite happy with that, and seen a few more, but sort of had to go back for a family sort of dinner, so put a bit more bait out, got back down the following weekend, repeat the same thing again, but found a few more spots, and I actually towed a couple of rigs and dropped them, like sort of on the marginal shelf. So I went out in the boat that evening, I'd seen like a couple of, probably one was about £47 this common. I thought that would do, so I sort of dropped a rig close to where I'd seen that, just literally like, it wasn't really a spot, but it's sort of just low line silkweed, and then it's like a little silky strip amongst it. I thought I dropped a rig on that, literally like a couple of handfuls of bait. And that morning, the next morning, Saturday morning, it went, and sort of, it was only a £29 common, not the big one I'd seen.
Even so, doing it right.
So it was working. So in the end, I towed 2 rods out there in the end. So I kept one on the spot I'd had at the bite previously, and took one long. And the Saturday night I towed 2 out there, had another bite, and got that one in, and was, 20 common, whatever. Sort of just put it back, and then come back the following weekend. And I remember the Friday night was really quiet, didn't see anything. Went out in the boat, I'd seen a couple sort of around the marginal shelf of the islands. I thought they're still there. I had a bite that evening. Like I said, there's a lot of snags in there. I jinxed myself because all the bites have been in the day. Well, I'd say all the bites, the few bites I had have been in the day. I said to my bird, I wouldn't want to get a night bite here. Half one that night, I had a take. I said, bloody hell. I'm playing it, and like I said, there's a lot of snags in there. And, literally 20 seconds later, it's come to a halt, and I thought it's round the bush. So going out there with a head torch on, thinking it's not around that one. The line's gone around that sort of nick one, pearl one.
Yeah.
Sort of got it around it. Come up to the fish, and it was a good fish, but it was wrapped around the sort of branch, sort of undone that. It was wrapped around the lead cord, come around the branch. The fish was just wallowing on the top. It's a good common.
Yeah.
As I've got that, like I said, I had braid everywhere. The fish is bolted. The fish is gone.
Oh.
So it's another one. Like I felt sick.
Yeah.
I actually pulled off again. I thought I just couldn't go back. It done me.
Yeah.
And then just after that, I flitted about here, there, everywhere.
Yeah.
Didn't go. No, done a couple of weekends just doing normal. What's there? Girlfriend stuff, and what she wanted to do, I suppose, and then come back. Well, like I said, come back here, and then started doing a bit over here, and sort of done a bit. Didn't catch anything. Sort of didn't really. My head wasn't really in it, to be in all fairness, and my head was more in the lake I fished in the spring. I just wanted to go back there, but I will be going back there. But I sort of going to go back the autumn, I think. Yeah. Or maybe a bit later on. Yeah. And my head was still in there, but I thought I need to fish somewhere, and sort of, like I said, I was just flitting about here, there, everywhere, and then it wasn't until about a couple of weeks ago I thought, you know what, I'm going to give Bradley's a go and try and catch one of these big ones. So that's where I am today.
Nice.
Well, tonight, so I say.
Yeah. It looks good for it, doesn't it?
Does look good, yeah.
Decent
mild,
chop on the water.
Good wind.
Cloudy.
Yeah.
Overcast.
Like I said, I've been getting a few bites off these spots as well. So like the fish know there's bait there, so fingers crossed.
And how many sessions did you say you're planning on doing on here?
I'll probably do the next couple of weeks. Yeah. And then probably take not a little break, but probably get everything geared up for like the lake of fishing in the spring. Just get everything ready for then. Yeah. Give that a good go later in the summer into the autumn. Yeah. Hopefully get the job done. Yeah, nice.
It's good to sort of, I think, have a break from somewhere like that as well. If it's a bit of a headbanger.
Yeah. It was like I said, it was flat out. I was doing every night. I was doing a lot of time. I was doing that Monday to Saturday. Well, every night of the week, and in between I was going home. Like, to be fair play, like my dad would be cooking me seed and particles and
like proper operation.
Coming home from work, filling up the butt like really tubs of bait, having a shower, having my tea, straight up the lake, straight to work the next day, back home, have a shower, repeat, just literally that's all. For like the 2 months I was on there, all I thought about was fishing. I didn't think about anything else. It was literally just fishing, and that was it. Even at work, I was thinking like, wonder where those fish are.
Yeah, that's it.
Wonder how much bait to give tonight, like where they could be. Like,
it gets you like that, doesn't it?
When especially when you're baiting, you can get so like one track minded. Like I said, I wasn't thinking about anything.
Yeah, I said that to you, didn't I? Before we started. That's why I haven't been. I've deliberately not been watching videos or listening to fishing podcasts, because I know as soon as I start to get the bug back, I want to be at the lake, and then and it'll be somewhere I'd want to be getting some bait going in regularly. Yeah, and it just takes over your life, doesn't it?
Certainly does.
Yeah, so that'll probably happen again at some point. Yeah, it does look good. It looks promising. And so what are we on now? We're sort of 9 o'clock, so you're probably going to be not far off getting your rods sorted out.
Yeah, getting rods out soon.
Yeah, we're at like 47 minutes. What we do, we'll wrap it up now, and we can maybe do like a catch-up podcast in a few weeks' time to see how you're getting on. Yeah, okay, right, nice one. Myles, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks very much.